On this week's Cape Breton fly fishing, I'm going to be tying you up a stimulator, a daddy longlegs, and a queen of the waters, so don't go anywhere. Alright, so the fly I'm going to start with is called a stimulator. And I'm going to be using an Ahrex size 10 long shank dry fly hook. The thread I'm going to be using is a UTC in red 70 denier. Fix my vise here. This fly became popular by a commercial fly tyer by the name of Randall Kaufman, but the original designer, his name was Jim. I'm not really sure of his last name, so you can look that up on Google if you like. So we're going to start off with some stimulator bleached deer hair. I'm just going to take a little bit here. I'm just going to take my brush and just brush out any underfur in it. Some wax on the thread. This wax will actually help the deer hair from spinning around on the shank of the hook. The length is up to yourself. I like to keep the tail relatively short. I'm just going to trim away all this waist end here. This fly is designed to be an attractor. It represents quite a few bugs on the river, but nothing really in particular. Just tidy up here. And it's great for the middle river, the Marguerite River. I haven't really fished this on the Bedeck River yet. Some wax on. Next I'm going to get some dry fly hackle in brown. I'm just going to strip some barbs off of one side. Now if you want to add a rib to this you can, but I'm not going to bother. And another thing is you can tie these in green, black, yellow, which we're going to be tying today, yellow and orange. So we're going to get some yellow dubbing. I'm just going to wind that on our thread, going one direction with the dubbing. Make sure it's on there tight, and we'll start wrapping. Get a little bit more. Be enough there. I'll just try to pick this waste stuff away. Next we're going to bring our hackle forward. Just making open wraps. Trim away the waist, push everything back, tidy up a bit. This is my go-to pattern for when I'm on the river. And like I said, you typically want to fish this fly, we'll say the 1st of July, maybe mid-August. So we're going to give this guy a haircut on the top here. And we're going to bring our wing in, which is the same as the tail, just some bleached deer hair. More wax on our thread. I just want that to be the length of the body, that wing. So what I'm going to do to prevent it from spinning around the hook, other than wax, I'm just going to come in with a wrap. around the deer hair itself and then bring it down towards the shank of the hook and tighten it in. Get my scissors now and trim all this waste away. Covering in all this waste best we can. Now for the front hackle, I'm just going to use a grizzly. Tie that in. And you don't have to use dubbing neither for the body. You can use floss as well, or yarn. I mean, if you use yarn, it might become more of a wet fly than a dry fly. So now we're just going to put some orange dubbing on this guy. Tidy up here a bit. Come in with our hackle pliers. Be careful you don't wrap into the deer hair wing. Now I like to oversize my hackle on my stimulators by the head of it, just to give it that more buggy look. Now we're just going to tidy up, building our head. Come in with our whip finisher. Now we're all set for the rivers this year. You'll be surprised the damage this fly can do around July and August. It's great. Alright, this is your A-Rex fly tying tip of the week. And this week I'm going to show you how to get feathers back in their natural form by steaming some boiling some water rather. So we're going to take some hackle pliers and we're just going to put this on the stem. We'll turn our kettle on. And be careful you don't burn your hands. You're just going to run your feathers through the steam. And that will bend it back to its natural shape. Alright, now we're just going to stick the little hairs together and it's back to its natural shape. And that's your A-Rex fly tying tip of the week. Alright, this next pattern we're going to be tying a dandy long legs on an A-Rex size 10 long shank hook. The thread I'm using is a rusty brown in 8/0. This is a pretty simple pattern to tie. I like using this pattern, me personally, in around August, the month of August. We'll get some March brown dubbing. We've had some luck up around River Denny's with this pattern. Obviously the Middle River. And the thing is, you don't need a whole lot of dubbing to build the body up. Me personally, I think the trick is the legs of this fly is what makes it. And for the legs, I'm just going to use some pre-knotted pheasant tail legs. You only need two legs per side. trim away the waste. We'll do the same on the other side. And if you can't get your hands on these, you can always make them yourself. A little more work to it, but it will pay off. Perfect. Come in, trim that waste away. For the wings, we're just going to use some tips off a grizzly hackle. Come in here and I'll tie one in. Do the same on the other side. Keep it them the same length, or as best you can. The fish aren't going to really notice much if the wings are off. Alright, so we're just about done tidying up. Next we're going to get some brown hackle. I need a little piece of this. We'll come in, we'll tidy that up. Small piece of dubbing on here. Wrap our hackle in. And now we'll whip finish. Trim away your waste, and now we can just mess around with the legs if you want. If you want to fluff out the wings a little bit, at this point you can do that. But that's it. So with the season fastly approaching, I'm going to show you how to connect your leader to your fly line using the nail knot tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our leader and we're going to place it in the nail knot, and we're going to start making wraps. Make sure you give yourself enough room. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next we're going to take that tip end and we're just going to slide it through all the wraps that we just did. And we're going to come out through the top of the nail knot. So like that. Next we're going to take our fly line and we're going to come in frontward underneath all those wraps. I use my teeth for this part. Next we'll just trim away their tag end here. And a little section of this line right here that's sticking out. And that's it. Alright, for my next fly I'm going to be tying up the Queen of the Waters. This fly is over 100 years old, so you probably don't hear much of it anymore, but it's still a go-to pattern for our rivers around here. I'm going to be using an Ahrex wet fly hook, size 10. The thread I'm just going to be using a UTC in 70 denier black. So we're just going to put a layer of thread down. We're just going to stop between the barb and the hook point. We'll get some wax on our thread. For the body hackle I'm just going to use a brown hen. Yeah, I've had lots of success when I do use this fly in the rivers around June. I don't really have much success. I don't know what the reason is. July and August, but June time, this is the time you want to put this fly on your line and get it out there. For the body, I'm just going to use some orange floss. And we'll start wrapping this in. Just take your time with it. Make sure you build up the body good. I'll come back down. And we'll go wrap it up one more time. Tie that off. Get some wax on our thread. Bring our hackle pliers in. We'll start wrapping. And as we're wrapping, we're going to fold the barbs rearward. Oh. Sometimes that happens. Now for the wing, I'm just going to use some teal. I want that pretty much the length of the body. We'll come in, we'll tie this in. We'll form our head here. I want that teal to kind of sit on the shank of the hook, so I'll just take my thumbnail and drive it into the shank of the hook. It's a pretty simple pattern to tie. It's easy, and for being over 100 years old, it's still very effective. And that's it. Not really much to say. It's a wet fly. Put it on June time and hold on. Alright, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me next time as I'll be tying up some Atlantic salmon patterns and some springtime streamer patterns. Until next time, see you then.